This is Optimal Living Daily, episode 729, The 5 Things We All Need to Hear This Time of Year, part 1, by Marc Chernoff of and&nbsp, and I'm Justin Malik, your very own personal narrator. Happy Saturday, and welcome to Optimal Living Daily, where I narrate the best blogs I can get permission from to help you optimize your life. I have a post from Marc of the massive site Marc and Angel Hack Life, but before we get to it, thank you to Talkspace for sponsoring this episode. Talkspace is an online therapy company that makes therapy affordable, confidential, and convenient. They let you choose from over 1,500 licensed therapists. For a special offer just for you, come by Talkspace.com/old. That's Talkspace.com/OLD. And a very happy birthday to Joss of Optimal Living Daily Relationships. She and Lee are actually in Amsterdam celebrating her 30th birthday. And they went without their baby boy, so they're going to get some quality time together. I hope you have an awesome birthday, Joss, and see you in January. And now today's post is related to the holidays and a bit longer than usual, so I'll read the first half today and then finish it up tomorrow. So let's get right to part 1 as we optimize your life. The 5 Things We All Need to Hear This Time of Year, part 1, by Marc Chernoff of markandangel.com. Tragedy strikes a woman who isn't yet old. A minivan traveling toward her on a dark mountain highway hits her car nearly head on just after sunset. She grips her steering wheel as hard as she can and veers into the rocky mountainside until her car screeches to a halt. The minivan flips onto its side and skids in the other direction off a cliff, plummeting nearly 500 feet to the ground below. Inside, a young family of 5 on their way to Grandma's house for Christmas Eve dinner. The woman doesn't recall the events that followed during the next several days. She doesn't recall the 3 eyewitnesses who comforted her and assured her that it wasn't her fault that the other driver had swerved into her lane. She doesn't recall how she got to the emergency room or the fact that she stayed there for over a week through Christmas and into the new year to treat a severe concussion and broken bones. What she does know and clearly recalls is the endless string of days she passes sitting alone in her bedroom, crying and thinking, why me? Why, after 48 years of Sunday church attendance, unwavering faith, and regular community service and charity work, would God ask her to spend the rest of her life knowing that she single-handedly killed an entire family? She has a family of her own that tries to comfort her ailing heart, but now she sees them only as the family she has taken from the world. She also has an overflowing network of close friends who want to see her smile again, but they now represent friends that others have lost because of her. The woman who isn't yet old begins to age more rapidly. Within a few short months, she is a shell of her former self. Skin and bones, wrinkles creasing under her eyes, a despondent downward gaze, and a hole in her heart that has grown so wide she feels like there's nothing left at all. All the people around her, those family members and friends who care so much, have done everything in their power to revive her to her former self. When love didn't work, they tried relaxing vacations. When vacations didn't work, they tried getting her involved in healthy community activities. When the community activities didn't work, they tried doctors. And now they have resigned from trying because the woman who is now an old woman has completely resigned from everything. A night comes, Christmas Eve, 1 year after the accident, when she decides that it's just not worth it anymore, that it's time to leave this world behind, perhaps to go somewhere better, perhaps to go nowhere at all. Luckily, she decides to sleep on it because she barely has the strength to keep her eyelids open, so she closes her eyes and instantly falls into a deep sleep, and she begins to dream. In it, she is sitting in a dimly lit room at a round table across from an elderly woman who looks a lot like her late mother, who coincidentally passed away on Christmas morning 5 years before the accident. They stare at each other in silence for several minutes, and then the elderly woman speaks. "My dear, tragedy is simply a miracle waiting to be discovered. Because within tragedy lie the seeds of love, learning, forgiveness, and empathy. If we choose to plant these seeds, they grow strong. If, on the other hand, we choose to overlook them, we prolong our tragedy and let somebody else discover the miracle." The old woman cries in her dream and in her sleep. She thinks about her husband, her children, and all of the wonderful people who love and care for her. And she suddenly realizes that instead of using the tragic accident to notice how precious life is, she has prolonged the tragedy and essentially ceased to live her life. and she's very close now to passing all her pain and sorrow over to the people she loves the most in this world. She opens her eyes and takes a deep breath. She is alive. She realizes that she still has an opportunity to change things, to mend the broken pieces, and experience the miracle that comes after the tragedy, to plant the seeds of love, learning, forgiveness, and empathy, and water these seeds until they grow strong. She rolls over and kisses her husband on the cheek and ruffles his hair until his eyelids begin to flutter. He opens his eyes and looks at her, totally confused. There's a spark in her eyes he hasn't seen in a long while, a spark that he thought had died with her youth on the day of the accident. "I love you so much," she says. "I've missed you," he replies softly as he kisses her lips. "Merry Christmas and welcome back." Our stories this time of year. The woman in the story you just heard is a close friend. Her name is Wendy, and I'm happy to say she's alive and well, and not nearly as old as she once was. With that said, however, Angel and I know many beautiful souls just like her who are still desperately struggling. We speak with them every single day, and many of them tell us that this time of the year is the hardest. Through a decade of coaching sessions, course trainings, heartfelt conversations, and self-hosted annual seminars, Angel and I have learned a lot about the human condition and the stories we hold on to and recite to ourselves. And for so many of us, the holiday season is when it all comes to a head. We spend the final days of the year off from work and school, reflecting on the state of our lives. It's not all bad, of course, but even when times are generally good, our minds have a tendency to drift back to perhaps less intense personal versions of Wendy's accident on that dark mountain highway. And Angel and I are no different. This time of year sometimes gets the best of us too. Our solution? Keeping things in perspective. We proactively feed ourselves the right reminders to ease our aching minds and redirect our energy effectively. And we challenge you to remind yourself too. To be continued. You just listened to part 1 of the post titled "The 5 Things We All Need to Hear This Time of Year" by Marc Chernoff of and&nbsp. We'll get right to those 5 things in tomorrow's episode. And big thanks again to my sponsor for today, Talkspace. Talkspace is the online therapy company that makes it easy to connect with an experienced, licensed therapist. They have over 1,500 of them who you can pick based on your preferences and for a fraction of the price of traditional therapy. You can send your therapist text, audio, or video messages, or do a live video chat. It's up to you, which I love. So if you're struggling with the holidays, try out Talkspace, get in touch with someone pretty much immediately. You won't have to wait in the lobby. And Talkspace therapists are fully licensed and go through a rigorous screening process, in addition to thousands of hours of supervised professional training. So to get matched with your perfect therapist, come on over to Talkspace.com/old. As a special offer just for you, you can use the code OLD to get $30 off your first month, all while showing your support for this podcast. That's the code OLD and Talkspace.com/OLD. And Marc and Angel actually have a conference coming up in San Diego. It'll be February 10th through 11th of 2018. If you're around, check it out. You can find info about that on their site. And big thanks to Marc and Angel, as always, for letting me narrate their content. It's always a pleasure. Now, we'll do it for today. I hope you're having a great weekend. I hope Joss is having a happy birthday in Amsterdam. Oh, if you want to get her a gift, subscribing to her show, Optimal Living Daily Relationships, would probably be a nice gift. She narrates Marc and Angel over there also. So yeah, feel free to do that. But anyway, I was supposed to be ending the show, so that's it for reals this time. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you tomorrow where we'll finish up this post and where your optimal life awaits.
Hey, this is Dan from the Optimal Finance Daily podcast, which is a lot like this show, except more focused on personal finance. Justin handpicks the best posts he can find from blogs and authors like Ramit Sethi, Mr. Money Mustache, and more, and I read them to you 5 days a week. So if you enjoy this podcast, come on over and subscribe to Optimal Finance Daily too. And together, we'll optimize your financial life.
You've been listening to Optimal Living Daily. Be sure to hit the subscribe button to stay up to date on each new episode, and head to oldpodcast.com. That's OLDpodcast.com for a free gift, as well as more actionable tips and resources to help you maximize your potential. Thanks for joining us, and remember, your optimal life awaits.